Good evening and welcome to tonight's Hearthstone Half Hour. I'm Hammy from FailCraft Casts. I hope you're well and that you're having a fabulous week. Tonight we're going to be jumping right into some Arena. It's Tuesday. Tuesday is Arena Tuesday, and we are going to be continuing what is for us, as I just jump into the game, an Arena that hangs in the balance. We have a Priest deck that we can quickly run through. We're on 5 wins, 2 losses. Maybe that this is going down, in which case we'll start a new arena straight afterwards and do a draft as quickly as we can, but very much looking forward to seeing if we can push this one on a little bit further towards that magic win number. So before we jump into a game, let's have a quick look at what we've got. We tried to pick as much control as possible in terms of our early cards. So we had some Elven Archer, we had some things like Ironbeak Owl, a solid core card, Knife Juggler, and a lot of early summoning minions, as you can see by this mana curve. As we came into the middle of the game, 2 Loot Healers for additional card draw. So a lot of damage. Thought Steal and Mind Vision I wanted to try out to see if we could do some bits and bobs with them, but you can see a challenge with this deck is we've got a lot of single cards. We don't really have huge amounts of things to string together, but just lots of sort of solid individual cards. As we get into this mid-level area, it's done okay so far, and the reason for that is because what cards we have managed to grab, even if they are singles, have had a couple of combos that have worked okay. We've managed to put lots of early game pressure on with our low mana cost early summon cards. We've always managed to keep summoning more minions, enabled ourselves to get some good trades away with things like the Emperor Cobra, and then coming into the late game, really we've got a couple of finishes, and our finishes are, to put too fine a point in it, Lightspawn and the Frostwolf Warlord. So there's not a huge amount that comes into that late game deck, which is a bit of a challenge, but if we get right down to the bottom there, you can see that the crown of the deck, which was loads of fun, was we managed to draft 2 legendaries. So we have Illidan there and Gruul as well as our finishes, Argent Commander for trades, and 2 mind controls. So there was a nice interesting swing in the late game. If we can just only get the cards out and stay alive long enough, we've got some heavy legendaries to try and finish off things for us. So let's have a look and see how we can get on. Well, we crack on, obviously, in terms of Hearthstone news. Just before we jump to the game, obviously there's IEM Catalyst going on at the moment. Some good tournament action there. Some winners from the ESL, and also some invitational players. So that's well worth going and having a check out.
Fight with honor. The light
we've
shall
got
bring
a Paladin
victory.
opponent called Rincewind. Rincewind, if you are a Terry Pratchett fan like myself, a very cowardly wizard who is a plaything of the gods in Terry Pratchett novels. Fate seems to follow him around like mud follows around a kid who's making a massive mess. So straight in there. There's nothing really else I can do turn 1 apart from drop my Elven Archer and do that 1 Battlecry damage. This is a bit of a funny arena deck, to be honest. It's got lots of little combinations in it, but because a lot of them are single card draws, I guess if anything the theme of this arena draw was to put pressure on in the early game with lots of small minions, stuff that I can play nice and quickly for low mana cost, try and keep as much control of the board as possible, and then finish up with Illidan and Gruul. We are trading away at this point in time, nothing else I can do, but like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards, knock on the table, and it's Rincewind's go. So let's see what this Paladin is trying to draft. Arena wise, it's always interesting to see what other people have gone for. They're probably not quite as random as myself. Paladins, of course, have the strength in that they can, forever be summoning additional 1/1 minions with their Silver Hand Recruit reinforced power, which is always great. And therefore, they can, if they can get buff cards, they can always have something to buff. And Paladins generally have quite a good core mechanic there, depending on what they draw. There you go. If in doubt, drop a minion on the deck. Who knows what he could become in a few turns' time. Over the time being, I like to keep the mind control tech just in case in several of my games that's actually really come in handy, and the reason for that is because opponents have got a lot of minions down on the table. I've used that mind control tech just to whisk one of them away. So I'm actually going to keep that for the time being. I'm going to go for the Thought Steal. And let's see what 2 cards of my opponents I get. I get the Worgen Infiltrator and I get the Azure Drake, so nothing I can play, but the Azure Drake would at least let me draw a card. Good evening and welcome to you folks who are just joining us on the stream. It's great to have you here.
Reporting for duty.
Another reinforce from our Paladin friend. He's dropped a secret. Let us get up some things to play around Paladin secrets. So so we can use this opportunity, even while we're playing Arena, just to have a think about some basic strategy. First things first, I'm going to decide what I'm going to pick and put on the table. I'm actually going to go for the light spawn and see what he does. It will make sense for him to start putting pressure on it. The more pressure he puts on the light spawn, the less health it's going to have, the less attack it is going to have. So I'm thinking we're probably going to see some bits from him in terms of pressuring that light spawn. Of course, if he does attack it, then he's either going to lose minions or take some damage on his hero. So we shall wait and see. There it goes, Hammer of Wrath, 2 of his lilies, and it is away. He's taken a little bit of damage on his Paladin. Now, at this 5 stage, he does have that secret. I'm not really going to play anything around that for the moment. I'm just going to take the Azure Drake and draw another card. Get my hand nice and stuffed and give myself a lot of options. So while our opponent Rincewind, the Cowardly Wizard, or not as the case may be, takes his go, let's just consider Paladin secrets. So playing secrets, remember secrets have been tweaked so they can only activate on your opponent's go. So there's no activating your own secrets anymore, which was possible in a couple of circumstances. How do you play against secrets? Well, you've got a couple of options. First things first, you really need to know what those secrets actually do. So let us consider the Paladin options. We have Eye for an Eye. When your hero takes damage, he could deal that much damage to the enemy hero. So that triggers, you always see what the secret does, but then you think about what its trigger actually is. Because that'll affect how you play. So the trigger on Eye for an Eye is attack enemy hero. When an enemy attacks Summoner 2 and Defender is the new target, that's just an enemy attacking period. When one of my minions dies for redemption, well, if I'm a Paladin, I can return it to life with 1 health. That's a 3rd secret. And the 4th is Repentance. When your opponent plays a minion, reduce its health to 1. So my triggers are opponent minion death, me attacking period, me attacking the enemy hero, or me playing a minion. So the easiest way for me to find out pretty quick is just to drop a cheap minion. If that, okay, I know for sure that it is not Repentance because I've played the minion and my minion has not had its health reduced to 1. So immediately, just by playing a minion, I've ruled out the player minion triggered Paladin secret. So that's 1 down. I need to kill one of his minions or attack his hero or something else to see what the other one might be, so I can find that it's only 1 of 3. What have I got left to finish off my go? Whenever one of my other minions dies, draw a card. A fairly solid option, if in case he tries to kill that bomber. It will give me more card draw. For the time being, I'm just going to get a few more cards on the table, and the reason for that is A, I can put some pressure on, but B, what I can also do is I want to try and trigger this secret, or I want to get some idea of probably what it's going to be. So what could it be? He doesn't have a minion on the table. Ooh, and there we go. A removal with Consecration. A very strong AoE card for our Paladin from there. There's a couple of his options done. Gets another minion on the deck. Still got his Paladin on the table, and he's coining into a 1 mana card. Well, let's see what it is. He's got a Leponome down. One of those solid spine cards as well. Fabulous. So, let's see what we've got now. So, if I kill one of his minions and it comes back to life, I know that's redemption, so that would be his other Paladin secret. Priestess of Illidan, that would heal me up. I can't do anything that's going to charge into him. I could, of course, take some damage myself if I charge straight into him, so what I'm actually going to just do for starters, I'm going to say straight up, yeah, and that is going to be Eye for an Eye. Oh, Noble Sacrifice. Okay. Trigger Noble Sacrifice, and he's summoned that 2-1 target. So this will let him trade away my powerful card, and also do that 2 damage from the Leponome's death rattle. He meets my Paladin with a Paladin, charges on him to do some more damage, so we're trading below for that at this point in time. Mind Control is not going to benefit me for a turn or 2. I drop Gruul, I force him to deal with it. But I lose the opportunity to pretty much sort of use Gruul as a finishing card. He doesn't have 4 minions, so I need to save my Mind Control tick. I don't quite need to Priestess of Illidan just yet, but he could get quite nasty next go. What I'm actually going to do... Priestess Civilian buys me a turn. Argent Commander would then let me trade away. I'm going to drop my Illusion Priestess. So what this will let me do, I can apply pressure to his hero. He's going to have to think about whether he wants to trade this away. Could be a danger. If he removes his bubble, I can remove his with my Argent Commander. I'm really just thinking about his Argent Commander, but with that True Sword Champion, it just lets him pick it off the table straight away with his weapon. He will take the 5 damage, of course. Reduced to 3 because of the 2 heal effect. And then suddenly he's still got the same cards on the table, and that nasty flesh-eating Gruul, when one dies, he will gain 1 attack. So I need to start picking some things off the table. Now I'm still holding out on Gruul at the moment. This may be a wrong decision, I'm going to have to wait and see, and the reason for that is because I'd like to use Gruul as my finisher. If I can somehow get the odds into my favour, dropping Gruul when he has nothing to respond to it with will pretty much seal the game for me. However, I'm just going to have to get to that stage, and this is quite close. He can't deliver me a knockout blow unless he's got a Tyrion Fordring or something in his hand. Tyrion, of course, being the Paladin legendary. But he can do 8 damage to me, 9 damage. The Demolisher is also going to be tough to remove with that 4 health. I'm going to waste his Snapjaw, and he's got enough that could do me a bit of damage as well. Oh, and that's a nice move with the use of Brewmaster. Brewmaster, of course, lets you, with that battle cry, pick up a minion from the battlefield to your hand. It means you can drop it again, get the bubble effect on it again, and start doing some painful damage to me. So let's see what options we have. I'm actually now going to go ahead and mind control tech. I will get one of those minions at random. And the Snapjaw. Okay, it's just reduced his options a little bit. I'm going to drop a Cult Master, so if he kills off my minions, you have to be drawing cards. And last but not least, I'm going to drop my Emperor Cobra. Now, reasons for that. I've now taken field control to a degree. Oh, painful there from the Demolisher. If I was him, I would 1-1 trade with my Silverhand Recruit. So with my 2 mind controls, a staple of course in any priest constructed deck, or so it seems, as of well, since quite a while. If he does have any big nasty minions, I've got those covered. I'm a little bit concerned just about the Argent Commander he's got and the charge he can do. Okay, a sensible first play there. He does take the damage, but it means that he removes my cultist that would let me draw cards. The Cult Master, of course, if any of my other minions die, I trigger card draw. And then just trading the deck down, trading the table down. We know he's got that Argent Commander, that's unknown to us. The Organ Infiltrator that we copied also comes out from earlier in the game. Minion attack to 1 with the Order Peacekeeper, and he now doesn't have many cards left in his hand, so if we can just negate some of the threats here, get Gruul out, then that is going to be a good game for us, but we just need to play this right. So first things first, I'm going to mind control his most dangerous minion. I'm probably going to want to make sure, although I wish I could attack this, but I can't remove it from the table. My health is low unless he's got anything that can charge. I've taken a big chunk of damage off the table for him. I'm going to chew away at one of his minions and see what we can do. Oh, and that's a killer blow. He's managed to remove my bubble. That means he can actually swing him with these 2 minions and keep his Demolisher alive. Demolisher actually, strangely for a very random card, doing him some pretty good service. Can see with that little red ring coming around the cards. Yes, Sarah. Oh, at the end of his turn he can draw a dream card. However, he doesn't know that, thing of things, I have another mind control. This is going to be painful for him. He will get his dream card, and Sarah's dream cards can be a bit painful. But another mind control from Sarah can be painful as well.
Job's done.
A dream card for me. He's going to be gutted at that. Turning a minion to its owner's hand. He might have pulled that. We're going to have to see what dream card he has. I'm still not in the best position here because I need to get this side of the table under control. Yep, dream returns that to owner's hand, which is fair enough. He can swing him with all of his minions, and he's now in danger of swarming me. The Lightwell will let me start healing myself, but I am taking damage here, and actually in a couple of turns time I could be in a lot of trouble. So I need to think about this quite carefully. Removing the Demolisher will mean that he's got to replay it. I don't really want to let him change one of my minions' attack power to 1. The Demolisher, funnily enough, is one of the things giving me a lot of trouble at the moment. I need to get myself healed up, that's a priority, so the light well won't actually kick in till a couple of turns' time. Getting lots of stuff down on the table will buy me time. I'm going to go ahead and dream on this Demolisher, put it back in his hand, because the 2 sort of damage that keeps doing is getting quite problematic. I could drop a Ysera, however, I don't really want to do that because I need to get myself healed. I need to get heals going on myself now. I do definitely need some ability to trade this stuff off the table.
Squire,
so I'm going to get my heal down,
Ready, sir.
Silverhand Knight down and heal myself up. And I just need to pray that he's not able to drop in anything that can swing in and charge and do me a bunch of damage. So we're getting to quite an exciting late game here. 2 damage to all enemies, and that removes my Squire. Gets my other 2 minions within range of his minions, but if he has sense, he will keep swinging on my hero and try and get the pressure down to finish this game off. I've got the finishing cards if I can stay alive, and ooh, he's going for the minions. That's an interesting decision. He can then pick off my Lightwell. Does make sense. The Demolisher will probably... Oh, the Wolf Rider comes in. Did not know he had that, so with the 6 damage... And the Demolisher, he will do 2 damage to me, 6, 8 damage. This is a very, very tough situation. Even if I drop Gruul, he can do 2 damage to me at the start of his turn, 3 and 6. The 6 damage, 8. It all depends on what he can draw and whether the 2 random damage is done to me or one of the minions that I actually put on the table. We're going to have to work this out very carefully. If I drop Draggling Mechanic and heal myself, it will not only let me potentially trade 2 of those, but it will give Demolisher 2 more targets. If I drop Gruul, there's still a good chance that he could do the 2 damage with the Demolisher and then swing in with those for the victory. So either way, my first move is heal. It's going to be a close finish now, but the Draggling Mechanic will give me the ability to trade some of these off the table. So this is really just down to chance. If I can keep these alive, all well and good. Doubling the health, does that help me? Not particularly, but what it will do is potentially let me... I'm just going to have to take the risk. The 2 damage, excellent. Okay, he can do 7 damage to me, but it all depends on what he's got in his hand. Can what he's got in his hand do 1 damage to me? Oh, there's your Drake, it lets him draw a card. Unless I'm very lucky with my next draw, True Silver Champion. Well played to you, sir. Even though I managed to steal his hair and had a Gruul in my hand, we get swung into for the victory there. A very good. Priest defeat. Priest defeat. Odin's beard. 3 defeats and a 5-win run comes to an end. It's nice to play. Very, very enjoyable stuff. Let us see what we get. We get 60 gold, lovely 55 gold, nice enough for another arena run, and of course of cards. Lovely stuff. Let us open our pack. Let's have a little bit of legendary. Let's see what we get out of it. Legendary, please. Mana Worm, we've got that. The lightning bolt, we've got that. There's nothing with a shiny outside, so it doesn't look as though it's the most exciting play. Oh, go rare. Angry Chicken. Oh, legendary! Got a Malagos! Get in! I did not have that. Fabulous. So Malagos 5 spell damage could be interesting in a couple of decks. Hey, you know what? Even though there was nothing shiny around the outside or glowy around the outside, Malagos came through. Loving that. 5 arena run coming in quite nicely. So that's the end of that arena run. Considering it's Arena Tuesday, I think we should just go straight ahead and start drafting a new deck. So let us get in. Okay, we've got Hunter. We've done Hunter recently. I've not done Shaman. I'm still not entirely happy with Shaman, so I'm going to go with the Lightbringer and the Paladin. So Paladin, we just played one. Big Pardon, seen his various strengths. I want to go for something that has a lot of small minions early on that I can buff, do a lot of damage with, and really enjoy. Of course, Paladins have secrets, so Secret could have benefits, but I'm going to go for the Cold Light Seer just in case there are Murlocs. I'm going to go for Paladin Murloc Fun. A Blessing of Might, unlike me, and buff my minions, it's always good. Armani Berserker is just a really solid card because of that Enrage +3 attack. you'll get damaged in the early game. You'll be able to do stuff with it. Easy call. Out of these three, I like drawing a card, but the True Silver Champion, as we've just seen in the game we just played, always comes in very handy as well. Taking damage and drawing cards with Knuckle Pain is good. The Snapjaw doesn't do a huge amount, and a Battle Cry of 2 damage. It can be quite nice to pick off opponents. I'm going to go with the Acolyte for potential draw. There's only potential draw, mind you. Giving a friendly minion Divine Shield enables trades. The Argent Commander for me gets the nod. Taunting and Raging and 3 attack for the Tauren Warrior is a lovely move, so I'm going to grab that. Dealing damage and drawing a card. Hammer of Wrath, giving a minion Divine Shield. That also enables trades. Some very tempting options there. I'm going to go with the Hammer of Wrath against my better judgment. One less per the attack of your weapon. The Dread Corsair sinks really well if you've got weapons, or just being able to heal yourself for large amounts is useful, so Holy Light gets the nod. 3 rares. We've got 2 Cold Light Seers and no other Murlocs. I'm actually going to go in with the Sun Fury Protector because giving 2 minions adjacent taunt, very powerful and fun stuff. Minions dying and drawing a card. I've yet to crack the Cult Masker, but I'm going to get him involved. Lots of strong options here. If I am going to get a bunch of other Murlocs, the Oracle is good. Spellbreaker, silencing any minion is also strong. I'm going to go with an early game Oracle and hope against hope that I actually get some Murlocs. The Silverhand Knight for Swarm, excellent stuff. Shieldbearer for Taunt, Charge when I've got a weapon equipped, swinging him in could be good, so I'm going to go with the Deckhand. I only got the one weapon at the moment, of course. Your hero takes damage, do that damage to a hero. The Blessing of Wisdom, minions attacking and drawing cards feels good to me. War Golem, could be a late game finisher. Juggling Mechanic for Swarm, I'm going to go for another Blessing of Might for that additional buff. Enjoying buffs, very much so. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul we've just seen can get very dangerous. Because I've picked some Murlocs, I'm still going to try and pull this Murloc theme out of the bag. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. Divine Shielding Guardian allows some trades. Charging it in early with deckhands and weapons equipped. Repentance, a bit of a random secret. If I play that later in the game, it might be useful. I'm going to try Repentance and see how it goes. Now, given that I've got a lot of small minions, I could take another Amani Berserker for early game pressure. But you can see I'm getting quite stacked here already. So Frostwolf Wall, a very solid card. 1/1 for each other friendly minion on the battlefield is always good. We've got another bunch of rares. Murloc Tidecaller, whenever a Murloc is summoned, that gets 1 attack or additional taunts for the Sun Fury Protector. I'm going to try and keep the Murloc going with the Tidecaller. Nicely, that pulls us into a Raider. Frost Elemental Freeze a character. We need some late game. You can see our mana curve is ridiculously now stacked in favour of the early game. Frost Elemental gets the nod. Holy Light, Guardian of Kings, late game restoring health could be quite nice and having something to swing with. You know what, I'd probably actually prefer a different minion, so another Holy Light gets the nod. With 7 cards to go, we're very heavily weighted in terms of early game pressure, and naturally that makes sense because we've got a Murloc deck. So let us see what we can do to tweak this situation. Another tank in terms of forms of a Tauren Warrior could be quite good. Divine Shield could be interesting on some of our Murlocs. I'm going to actually go with, let's have a think, another Argent Protector. Get some shields up on those Murlocs right var. Restoring health with the Farseer, swooping in with the Tiger. In terms of late game cards, I'm lacking a bit of cut and thrust in that late game. For that very reason, I'm going to go with the Tiger. Hammer of Wrath and drawing a card feels good as well. With 4 cards to go, being able to defend myself is good. Another Hammer of Wrath, dealing damage and drawing a card. The Lord of the Arena is a late game lifesaver. For that reason, he will get a nod. A Beluga Warrior charging, a Murloc Raider coming in as well. Let's just see what we've got. We've got 1 Raider, we've got 1 Tidecaller, we've then got a Beluga Warrior. We've got just the 1 Cold Light Seer? I thought I drafted 2. I did, that might be a bit of a mistake. Let's jump on in with a Beluga Warrior. In terms of a bit of swarmage, the Guardian of Kings just keeps on coming up. Let's pick him up as a late game Protector, and finally we get 1 more rare, charging with a Battle Cry, a Mana Addict casting a spell that's going to be Defender of Argus, just because it's so ridiculously solid, that card, even though it's had its attack dropped just a tad. So that drafts our very random Paladin deck. We'll play this next episode, so we're not going to be cracking on with it right now, but let's just have a quick look at what we've got in there. Early game, we've got a huge weighting on 1 and 2 mana curve, so we can swing in. We want to get our Murlocs out early, we want to be charging in, putting pressure on. If our Murloc combos don't come out, then with 5 Murlocs, it's some but not quite enough, but we've still got a bunch of solid early game minions to back those up. Should we even get to mid game, we've got draw power, we've got the True Silver Champion to try and keep control of the deck, and then late game we can create tanks. We've got Frostwolf Warlord, we've got swarming minions, a random Frost Elemental, and then some tanks and healing as well. It could be a lot worse, it could be a lot better. So we will not continue with that deck for now, but we will give it a go either later this week or next Arena Tuesday. So that is just short of half an hour this evening, but that is our Hearthstone half hour for tonight. So firstly, thank you very much for tuning in. Always really good to have you here. Today was Arena Tuesday on Hearthstone Half Hour, and if you want to see our previous videos, Mondays, just as our quick wrap up, Mondays we do New Player Mondays, where we focus on more new player concepts, deck lists and similar. Tuesdays are always Arena Tuesday, where we jump into Arena and have some fun, play around with different decks. Wednesday is always a ladder day, we will jump on the ladder with whatever deck we are playing at the moment. At the moment it is still Priest, and just pushing our way up there, trying to grab our legend ranks and experience as much as we can on the ladder as quickly as we can. Thursday will be a little bit more tactic focused. We might look at things, say for example, that are mid-range to intermediate kind of stuff, but nothing that new players can't learn from too. How to play around secrets, how to tweak decks, and similar slightly more advanced concepts. And last but not least, if it's a Friday, we'll play something entirely different to Hearthstone. It could be League of Legends, StarCraft, it could even be Nintendo 3DS games. We've got a streaming DS that we'd love to try out. So that's how we mix it up. Please, if you've tuned in, do drop us a tweet, comment on YouTube, say something on Twitch, or just drop a comment on the website. We'd love to hear from you and just to know what you think we can do better for you. So where can you find us? youtube.com/FailCraft Casts is our YouTube channel. It's got a whole archive of the Hearthstone Half Hour and other games that we play as well. Really just doing lots of learn to play, new player friendly, but then also bits that intermediate and more advanced players perhaps can pick up a little something of as well. If you want to go pro level, we'll hand you over to the pros after a while anyway. Never are we going to say that we are pro at any of these games. Hopefully we can give Hearthstone a good go in the future, but let's see how that goes. twitch.tv/FailCraftCast. You can sign up for a free Twitch account, you can subscribe to the Twitch channel, and then you'll get an email whenever going live, which is generally 7:30 to 8 PM London time at GMT, Monday to Friday. twitter.com/FailCraft Casts. You can find us on Twitter there. Do come say hello, feedback to us, and let us know what you like, what you don't like. We really would love to hear from you, so drop us a tweet at FailCraft Casts. Always really good to hear your feedback. And last but not least, the website is failcraft.org. You can see all of our videos there, you can see blog articles there as well, and also you can find things. We are in the process of just getting up more deck lists, a few more sort of strategy articles, and things that maybe don't live quite so well on a video, or things that even if you see on a video are probably quite nice to read through, just in case there's that time where you can't be watching your YouTube videos or tuning in live. Really good to see all of you guys who've tuned in on the stream. If you've just tuned in, really sorry, we're just wrapping up for this evening, but we will be back tomorrow, and we are back every evening, Monday to Friday, doing Hearthstone or something a bit different on Friday at round about this time. So if you've just joined us, please tune in another evening. Thanks very much for tuning into the Hearthstone Half Hour this evening. I'm Hammy from